Boston Celtics season came to an unexpected and undesired end for everyone involved. There are indications that the team may choose to restructure its current roster and trade some of the starting players. In fact, several NBA sources have suggested that this scenario is a viable possibility. Soon, we will explore which players might be targeted and the reasons behind such potential moves. Before we proceed, it is important to highlight that our focus is to provide high-quality content during this offseason, which has now officially begun for the Celtics. We are also close to reaching our goal of 52,000 subscribers. If you're a fan of the team and want to stay updated on the happenings this summer, consider subscribing. What's happening, Green Team fans? This topic came up shortly after a key player's injury and even before the team's elimination in the series against the New York Knicks. It was reported that significant changes were expected during the offseason, regardless of the result. The loss in the Eastern Conference semifinals, even with a committed roster, may raise concerns and the need for adjustments for the next season. However, the main reason the Celtics are considering trading significant players this summer relates to finances. Something that had already been anticipated. A recently released chart showed the projected financial outlook for Boston for the 2025 and 2026 seasons, with a salary forecast of $230 million. This clearly exceeds the second spending cap, and the highlighted penalty in red indicates that taxes could reach $270 million. This implies the team will pay more in taxes than the entire roster's total salary. A decision doesn't seem feasible from a business standpoint, and for anyone managing a business, this path will not be taken. Therefore, the only alternative will be to trade some players in order to significantly reduce this salary amount. Don't foresee a scenario where they can cover the salaries of all the players on the roster. In fact, this is not a sensible commercial option. For anyone wishing to manage a business, this approach is not viable. Therefore, the only alternative is to seek trades in order to reduce this salary cap significantly. I estimate that they will need to get this amount below the second limit, without a doubt. To be honest, I have strong opinions about the current collective bargaining agreement. The new terms are quite unsatisfactory. This creates a narrow window for many teams operating with high salaries. Taking the Celtics as an example, there are players who have stood out on the team, and we are fortunate to offer them supermax contracts. However, it now seems that a restructuring may be necessary, even after the successful efforts in roster formation. They didn't just acquire this team. Instead, they made trades for several players, including a renowned center and a veteran point guard. Now, it seems the departure of some players might be required. In my view, significant changes are inevitable for the Boston Celtics this summer. Flexibility is limited. One of these essential players must be traded. There are many contracts over $30 million on this roster, making sustainability under the new terms unfeasible, especially considering the luxury tax consequences. A sports analyst from a renowned publication commented on the decisions the Celtics will need to make, indicating a reasonable probability that this team will undergo a significant reshaping. I believe 2 or more players from the top 7 rotation are likely to leave next season, as they could use the upcoming year as a transition period. To be straightforward, I cannot deny that a transition year for the Boston Celtics would not be such a negative outcome. Regardless of the scenario, it is unlikely that a key player will be active during the 2025-2026 regular season or in the 2026 NBA playoffs. Without this player, the team's chances will be severely compromised. It's hard to believe they could win a championship without this player. Therefore, it may be wise to give up the next year, gather new assets, and prepare properly for the 2026-2027 season when the key player returns. The absence of a key player on the team significantly limits the chances of success. It is hard to imagine this team winning a championship without him, so it may be prudent to focus on rebuilding for the future. The next seasons, especially 2026 and 2027, could be decisive when the player returns. Currently, the team faces a significant load of contracts on its roster. For the 2025 and 2026 seasons, one player will earn $54 million as his Supermax contract begins. Additionally, another player will see his Supermax contract start at $53 million. Another team member receives $32,500,000, while another athlete earns over $30 million. A player considered one of the best value contracts in the league is currently just under $30 million. Alongside him, another team member has a salary of $10 million due to his extension, which starts this season, which could significantly impact the team's finances, potentially leading to an $80 million tax bill. Given this situation, the question arises, who is most likely to be traded? Some players are considered candidates that may attract interest from other teams. Reports indicate that the organization may be more willing to make one player available for trade this offseason than another. Various rival teams see one specific player, the veteran, as the most likely to be traded, mainly due to his expiring contract, valued at $30,700,000. The expiring contract makes him attractive to teams as it will require less compensation in trade, as his salary will be off the books after the 2025-2026 season. However, one key player stands out as someone to watch for possible trades. His value to a title contending team is immense, having already won 2 championships. He played a crucial role in leading the team to the championship in 2023 and 2024. With an impressive 60% shooting from the corners behind the three-point line. Trading him could also help the team stay below the second tax threshold of $32,400,000. Boston has big aspirations for the 2023-2024 season, aiming for a championship. He had a shooting percentage of about 60% from the corners behind the three-point line, which was key to Boston's ability to maintain balance on the court. Trading him also allows the team to fall below the second salary cap, which is $32,400,000. They are currently about $30 to $25 million over that cap. Just trading him would bring significant financial relief to Boston, which may be a necessary move, despite my great respect for Drew as a player. Should the Celtics consider trading Drew Holiday? This is the central question I would like to discuss with all of you. Say T for trade or K for keep. We will explore Drew's performance in more detail soon and discuss other possible moves for the Celtics. But first, I want to know what you think. Trade or keep? Looking at his past performances, he really faced a drop in performance during the 2025 season, which is reflected in his shooting efficiency. He was a three-point shooter with a 43% rate in the 2024 season. And as I mentioned earlier, he hit almost 60% from the corner, where he frequently converted. In the current period, he is shooting only 35% from beyond the arc. This represents a significant challenge for the Celtics offense, as defenses no longer have to view Drew Holiday as a considerable threat from long distance. We recognize that he is still an excellent defender at this stage of his career, and I don't expect teams to stop considering him because of his lower three-point shooting performance. As such, he could become a very attractive trade candidate, likely being the player from whom Boston could extract the most assets if they decide to trade him. An observer from a major sports platform shares this view, stating that his image as a solid winner and standout defender would attract the attention of many competing teams if the Celtics choose to move him. This assessment comes from several league sources indicating that trading Drew is a strategic consideration for Boston. However, we also need to reflect on Drew Holiday's own thoughts about this situation. Recently, he commented on the upcoming summer, acknowledging the realities of being a professional athlete and that sometimes tough decisions need to be made, considering other factors as well. Quality remains Boston's top priority. However, it is important to take into account what Drew Holiday thinks about his current situation. He mentioned that this is the reality of being an athlete, where adjustments need to be made while others approach things differently. He emphasized that he tries to do his best to control the aspects he can and tries not to worry excessively about what's beyond his control. Drew revealed his desire to stay in Boston, calling the team the best in the league and expressing dissatisfaction with the outcome of the previous season. He envisions a future with the team, with the intention to stay long-term. At 34, he likely wants to end his career with the team, but when Tatum returns in 2026 or 2027, Drew will be 36. The question arises about what version of him the Celtics will see by that time, and it remains uncertain how willing they are to consider this possibility. Moving forward, it will be interesting to see if more players from the Celtics will be on the move beyond Drew Holiday, as this seems almost inevitable at this point. Before we delve further into this, it's important to mention a key platform in the daily fantasy sports world. This platform was created to enhance the daily fantasy experience. The process involves selecting a roster of 2 to 6 players and deciding whether their projected stats will be higher or lower. Basketball, baseball, hockey, and other sports are ongoing, with options including bowling, darts, esports, and golf. Players can combine and mix in their rosters with the possibility of significant returns on their investments. Regarding the upcoming Eastern Conference Finals, which are set to begin this Wednesday, a lineup has been prepared for the first game. The expectation is that Jalen Brunson will score over 28.5 points, as it seems unlikely anyone in Indiana will be able to defend him effectively. Miles Turner is projected to surpass 15.5 points, given his current form against the Knicks front court that has shown some vulnerabilities. However, Josh Hart is expected to score less than 12 points, as his contributions in the game are expected to come from areas other than scoring in this first matchup. The choices are open to being followed or ignored, depending on individual preferences. Turner has stood out, accumulating more than 15 points and a half. The team's defense isn't the strongest, and the expectation is that Josh Hart will stay below 12 points, hoping that he can contribute in other aspects of the game beyond just scoring. You may choose to follow the suggested picks or disregard them. The offseason is filled with movements, and it is expected that some athletes will remain on the team. Jason Tatum is one of them, although his on-court participation is expected to be limited. Peyton Pritchard has a favorable contract, valued at $7.5 million, just like Derek White, who also offers good market value, costing less than $30 million. Both of their schedules seem to align a little better with Tatum. And Jaylen Brown. On the other hand, Kristaps Porzingis will receive over $30 million next season, and his contract is about to expire. He hasn't been the impactful player fans expected and received much criticism on social media for his performance in the playoffs. Since his arrival, he has missed 65 games, and his performance left negative marks. His participation in games was limited, affected by a mysterious illness at crucial moments. During the playoffs, he struggled both with shooting and rebounding, and his rim protection was unsatisfactory. For this reason, his performance was deemed disappointing, generating the expectation that he will be traded this summer. With a performance below expectations, it's clear that his contract value will be a factor for other teams, who are also aware of his limitations. Trust in the team's leadership is crucial, and believing in the decisions to be made is essential. The team management always seeks to recover value in future trades, and there is an expectation that even given Porzingis' situation, measures to ensure a good return will be implemented. Regarding potential trades, rumors suggest possible destinations for players, with the Houston Rockets and San Antonio Spurs emerging as options for a player like Holiday, who could contribute defensively and bring experience to the group, as well as in San Antonio, which seeks more versatility and experienced voices. The destinations for a player like Drew Holiday are quite attractive, especially the Houston Rockets, considering his strong defensive skills and the need for an experienced presence in the locker room. San Antonio also stands out as it seeks more defensive adaptability and the prospect of adding a veteran's wisdom, especially with a chance to pair a young talent alongside Victor Wembanyama. Additionally, the option for Porzingis may prove viable. However, the name that stands out most in a potential trade with one of these franchises is Jaylen Brown. While this might seem like a bold thought when analyzing his performance in the 5th game, where he had an impressive showing against the New York Knicks in a crucial match they needed to win to support Jason Tatum with 12 assists and 35 points, it's clear to see his potential. However, repeatedly, Jaylen Brown shows that he still hasn't reached his full development as a player capable of leading the team as a primary star. The question that remains is whether it's feasible to maintain 2 Supermax contracts on this roster long-term while having a competent supporting group. This remains an unknown. An expert commented that Brown should assume a central leadership position, but the management has several alternatives to consider regarding budget management. his $53.1 million salary in the second year of a 5-year contract, totaling $286 million, represents a significant amount. However, caution must be exercised. Jaylen Brown's statements after the loss to the Knicks in Game 6 made it clear that he wants to remain with the team for the 2025-26 season and possibly beyond. If I were asked right now, I would confidently say that Jaylen Brown will be with the team in 2025-2026. However, if an attractive offer comes up, it's likely the management won't hesitate to take advantage of the opportunity. A few years ago, they were open to trading Jaylen Brown for a marquee player, but ultimately rejected the offer. At that time, the team also considered another player in the negotiations. Therefore, it's clear that the team is open to trading Jaylen Brown if the offer is intriguing. But the question is whether the ideal offer will be available. This small indicator may suggest that this is possible. The team analyzed the young talent during the NBA Draft Combine, which is certainly worth noting. However, they don't have many draft assets that would allow them to make a significant move. Will the right value be accessible? This indicator might suggest it's possible. The team had conversations with a player during the NBA Draft Combine, which is notable. They lack the necessary assets to make a move in the draft order, and there's no indication that the other team is willing to trade their pick. However, they have Jaylen Brown and their own draft picks, which could facilitate a deal. An analyst suggested the team could contact management to present a proposal involving Jaylen Brown. The big question is how many first-round picks would be necessary. I'm curious whether the team and their decision makers would consider this. Honestly, this is one of the few trades I would evaluate for Jaylen Brown. Acquiring a player who truly wants to be part of the roster and can help kickstart a new phase of basketball for the team, playing alongside Jason Tatum, would form one of the best forward duos in the league. This is indisputable. This player is exceptionally smart and already shows great potential and skill. This is a player I would consider trading Jaylen Brown for. They may need to offer a bit more, but it's definitely worth reaching out. Before wrapping up, I want to know your opinions on how many players from the team will be traded this offseason. Will it just be one starter to avoid surpassing the cap? Could it be 2 starters or even 3 starters or maybe more impactful players from this group? How does the team position itself as it prepares for the 2025-2026 season? Share your opinions in the comment section and stay tuned for all updates on trade rumors this offseason. We will surely have many. So stay tuned as your main source for online team content. See you in the next segment. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. A storm appears to be brewing within the Boston Celtics organization, as recent rumors suggest that star player Jaylen Brown has requested a trade, exposing what many are calling an unsustainable atmosphere behind the scenes. Brown, who has long been celebrated as one of the franchise's most talented and hard-working athletes, seems to be at a crossroads in his career, with reports indicating growing frustration with the team's internal dynamics. Jaylen Brown has been a cornerstone for the Celtics, known not only for his impressive athleticism and scoring ability, but also for his leadership on and off the court. His commitment to the team and community has earned him a special place in the hearts of Celtics fans. However, the latest whispers hint at a breakdown in communication and trust within the locker room and between players and management. The Celtics, a team with a storied history and high expectations every season, have faced challenges this year that seem to have taken a toll on the squad's cohesion. Brown's alleged desire to leave suggests deeper issues at play. Perhaps disagreements over strategy, player roles, or the overall direction of the franchise. Sources close to the situation describe a tense environment marked by conflicting visions and a sense of impatience among key figures. This news is particularly striking given Brown's rise over recent seasons from a promising young player to an elite NBA talent and a potential future face of the franchise. The Celtics invested heavily in him, seeing him as a crucial part of their championship aspirations. That makes the rumors even more troubling for Boston fans, who now must grapple with the possibility of losing one of their brightest stars. While the Celtics have yet to issue an official statement addressing Brown's trade request, insiders suggest that management is working behind the scenes to either mend fences or prepare for a significant roster shakeup. The upcoming weeks could prove critical for the team's future, as decisions made now will impact their competitiveness and locker room chemistry for years to come. This development also raises questions about the broader challenges facing the Celtics. Is the front office doing enough to support its players? Are there cracks in the coaching staff's approach that need urgent attention? And how will the rest of the team respond to this potential upheaval? Fans and analysts alike will be watching closely, hoping for clarity and a resolution that keeps the Celtics on a path to success. For now, the Celtics find themselves at a precarious moment. Jaylen Brown's rumored trade request and the exposed backstage turmoil signal a chapter of uncertainty. The franchise must navigate this storm carefully to restore harmony and keep their championship dreams alive. Whether Brown stays or goes, this saga will undoubtedly shape the future narrative of Boston basketball. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.